Hey Explorers, I'm Mariah, co-owner of Explore Estes and your guide to adventure in Estes Park. If you're planning a visit to Estes Park or Rocky Mountain National Park between May and October, this video is just for you. In this video, we're going to break down the permanent timed entry reservation system for Rocky Mountain National Park, as we've received many questions regarding what the reservation system is, when you need to purchase a permit to visit, and how to navigate around the system if you're unable to secure a reservation. This video will be time-stamped by section in the description below if you would like to skip ahead to answer your questions. Also, to clarify terminology, I will be using the terms permit and reservation interchangeably as the National Park does to describe the timed entry permit system. So if I describe it as a reservation, then next describe it as a permit, I am referring to the same thing. And one last note, Estes Park is the eastern gateway to Rocky Mountain National Park. Reservations are only required to enter the national park boundaries, and they are not required to visit the town of Estes Park. To start, we're going to talk about what the Rocky Mountain Timed Entry Reservation System is. As of 2023, Rocky Mountain National Park was the 5th most visited national park in the United States with over 4.1 million visitors. To help manage the increase of visitors, the national park implemented a system in 2020 which requires people visiting to schedule a time slot when they can enter the national park. This is in addition to the normal entry fee required to enter the national park. And this type of reservation system is also being implemented in some other highly visited national parks, so we're not the only ones having to deal with this slightly confusing system. Now, after 4 years of testing and adjusting the rules for the timed entry reservation system, Rocky Mountain National Park has announced that this system is now permanent, and moving forward, starting in 2025, these rules are now set for future visitation. Rocky Mountain National Park has 2 separate reservations for the peak tourist season. If you're visiting between the Friday of Memorial Day weekend, which is the weekend preceding the last weekend in May, and Columbus Day, which is the second Monday in October, you will need a timed entry reservation depending on what time you would like to enter the national park and what areas you would like to access. Or if you're visiting between the Friday of Memorial Day weekend and the weekend after Columbus Day, you may need a timed entry reservation depending on what time you would like to enter the national park and if you would like to access the Bear Lake Road corridor. The first permit is for access to Rocky Mountain National Park minus access to Bear Lake Road corridor. If you would like to visit Rocky Mountain National Park, not including areas in the Bear Lake Road corridor between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. from the Friday of Memorial Day weekend to Columbus Day, you will need a reservation. This permit does not include areas in the Bear Lake Road corridor, but still includes areas like the Alluvial Fan, Old Fall River Road, Trail Ridge Road, the Wild Basin, and the entire western side of Rocky Mountain National Park where Grand Lake is. The second permit is for the entire national park, including the Bear Lake Road corridor, which is the most popular area of Rocky Mountain National Park. This second permit is called the Timed Entry Plus Bear Lake Road Permit. If you would like to visit Rocky Mountain National Park, including access to the Bear Lake Road corridor between 5 a.m. and 6 p.m. from the Friday of Memorial Day weekend and the weekend after Columbus Day, you will need a reservation. The Bear Lake Road corridor is where many popular trailheads are located, like Emerald Lake, Lake Hiaha, Hallett's Peak, and other areas like Moraine Park. Because this is the most popular area of Rocky Mountain National Park, the reservation timeline is slightly extended as are visitation hours that require a permit for each day during the peak season. Timed entry reservation permits go on sale on a monthly basis and can sell out within minutes. The first batch of reservations to enter the national park go on sale through Recreation.gov at 8 a.m. Mountain Time on May 1st, and they cost $2. For this release, reservations will be available to enter Rocky Mountain National Park from the Friday of Memorial Day weekend, which is the start of timed entry for the year, through June 30th. The next release will be on June 1st for the month of July and for any remaining days that have not been booked for June. On July 1st, reservations will be available for the entire month of August and for any remaining days that have not been booked for July, and so on until September 1st, when all remaining reservations reservations go on sale up to the weekend after Columbus Day, which is the end of timed entry reservations for the entire year. We'll have some best practice tips to help you secure your timed entry reservation later on in this video, and we'll also talk about how you can still get into Rocky Mountain National Park if you aren't able to secure a timed entry reservation when they initially go on sale. Check the video description below for a timestamp to skip ahead to either of these sections. Once you've made your timed entry reservation, here's how entering the park will work. Number 1, once you make a reservation for a specific time to enter the national park, you will have a 2-hour window to enter your permit area. So say you've reserved an 11 a.m. entry time to the Bear Lake Road corridor. You will need to enter Rocky Mountain National Park entrance kiosk and the Bear Lake Road corridor kiosk at any time from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. If you're too early or if you're too late, the national park will likely turn you away. So make sure you're headed to the national park entrance with enough time, as lines can get backed up. The longest that I've ever waited was in September 2023, and it took over an hour to get through the entrance kiosk. Number 2, once you reach the kiosk within your reserved entry time, you must show proof of your timed entry permit to the ranger attending. You can either show the PDF permit on your phone or print the permit. Please be aware that cell phone reception is very limited in the national park. Make sure to have your permit downloaded on your phone if you do not have a printer, because you may not be able to load the web page at the time of entry. Number 3, after showing the ranger your entry permit for the correct time, you will be required to pay your entry fee into the national park. The daily entrance fee is $30 per vehicle or $35 per vehicle for the week. You only need one timed entry permit per vehicle per day. If you have an annual National Parks Pass or a senior pass, this will waive your entrance fee. You can either purchase your entrance fee in advance on Recreation.gov or pay when you enter at the gate. Just be aware that they do not accept cash at the gate, only debit or credit cards to pay for your entry fee if you do not already have an annual pass. Number 4, if you have entered the national park during your 2-hour window and have paid your entrance fee, you may leave the national park and re-enter at any time for the day. However, if you leave the Bear Lake Road corridor, you will not be able to re-enter until after 2 p.m. You do not need to leave the national park by any certain time, as the park is open 24/7. To make sure you're able to secure your timed entry reservation for your preferred entry time, we recommend creating an account on Recreation.gov ahead of time and logging on before 8 a.m. Mountain Time on the day that timed entry reservations will be released for the month that you plan on visiting. Again, these sell out very quickly, within minutes, so be quick to add multiple days to your cart to check out. You have 15 minutes from the moment that you add a reservation to your cart to check out, or they will be released, and you are able to add multiple days to your cart before fully checking out. If the timed entry permits are sold out for your preferred date and time, don't fret, you still have a few options. 40% of timed entry permits will be held and available for purchase the day prior to your visit at 7 p.m. Mountain Time through Recreation.gov for last-minute travelers. So you may be able to purchase a timed entry permit the day before your visit. But again, these sell out incredibly quickly, so be sure to log into Recreation.gov before the remaining permits go on sale. If you don't want to bother with the reservation system, you can still enter Rocky Mountain National Park without a timed entry permit before 5 a.m. or after 6 p.m. to enter the Bear Lake Road corridor. Or you can enter the rest of the national park minus the Bear Lake Road corridor before 9 a.m. or after 2 p.m. without a timed entry permit. Just note that the lines to get into the national park get incredibly long, both the hour before timed entry begins for the day and the hour after it ends. If you don't want to drive your own vehicle, you can instead make a reservation for the hiker shuttle that picks up at the Estes Park Visitor Center and drops guests off at the Park and Ride area within Rocky Mountain National Park. This area is within the Bear Lake Road corridor. From there, you can catch another shuttle to your preferred hiking area on the Bear Lake Road corridor. Shuttle tickets go on sale, and they are on the same release dates as the timed entry reservation permits. Shuttle tickets are $2 per person. You can only purchase a maximum of 4 shuttle tickets on a single order. So if you have more than 4 people, be sure to have multiple people logged into Recreation.gov when they are released, as these sell out very quickly as well. Your hiker shuttle reservation will act as your timed entry permit. You do not need both a hiker shuttle reservation and a timed entry permit. You need either one or the other. If you'd like to spend more time in the national park, you can reserve a campsite instead. If you have a campsite reservation, this will act as your timed entry permit for the approved areas except for the Longs Peak Campground. And you may enter Rocky Mountain National Park at 1 p.m. on the first day of your camping reservation. Glacier Basin, Moraine Park, and Aspen Glen campground reservations will have access to the Bear Lake Road corridor and the rest of the national park. Timber Creek campground reservations will have access to the rest of the park, excluding the Bear Lake Road corridor. Longs Peak Campground will need to secure a timed entry permit to visit the rest of Rocky Mountain National Park during timed entry hours. However, if you have a backcountry or wilderness permit for backcountry camping, you may enter the national park at any time throughout the day, starting on the first day of your wilderness permit. And lastly, if you don't want to drive on mountain roads or deal with timed entry permits yourself, you can hop on a tour with a licensed guide of Rocky Mountain National Park, and your timed entry permit is automatically included with your tour. At Explore Estes, we offer private tours into Rocky Mountain National Park, which allows you to get into the park worry-free. But be sure to book your summer or fall Rocky Mountain tour with us with plenty of time in advance, as our services can also book up quickly. Well, that just about covers it for the Rocky Mountain National Park Timed Entry Reservation System. It can get rather confusing, so we also have a blog post with a large frequently asked questions section that you can print out, which we've linked in the description below. If you have more questions about the Timed Entry Reservation system, you can leave them in the comments below and we'll try our best to answer them. But if your questions are time sensitive, call Rocky Mountain National Park directly for more information. And lastly, if you're having issues purchasing your timed entry permits, call Recreation.gov directly. Thank you for watching, and be sure to hit that like button if you found this video helpful, and subscribe for more informational videos about visiting Estes Park and Rocky Mountain National Park on the east side. Happy exploring!